Bray here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am excited that you're back. For those of you that are just tuning in, welcome to my 7-day challenge. We are in day number 4, so I'm going to do a little refresher for those of you that have been following along, or something to catch you guys up for those of you that are just tuning in. I've been sharing 7 keys that will help you achieve self-mastery and living a life of higher vibrational form. So I'll start with key number 1. Journey with fierce intention. Key number 2, journey with fierce focus and concentration. And key number 3, journey with a balanced spirit tribe. All of these 3 keys really tie in together, and the key that I'm going to share with you today is really vital in applying the first 3 keys to your life and also the remaining keys. And all of these keys are completely useless if you don't practice them daily in your lives. And the key that I'm going to share with you today is actually going to help you utilize the keys all together. And I picked a perfect background song by Laura Castillo. She is a violinist and absolutely amazing. So I'm going to take a couple minutes just letting you guys listen to it because, first of all, I have a love for the violin. I grew up playing the violin and even got to play it in the Mojave Community Orchestra for a little bit in Kingman, Arizona. But this really ties into the keys. So nothing else matters. It really ties into today's message beautifully, because literally if you don't exercise this key in your life on a daily, the other keys really don't matter. And so that brings me to key number 4. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Keeping it fun for you guys, are trying. Key number 4, journey with fierce willpower. Willpower is a mental muscle. Willpower can be developed just like a muscle. And for those of you that exercise, it's not always the easiest thing to do to develop muscles. Sometimes, you know, that cardio and that strengthening exercises that you use, it's painful sometimes to even be able to remind yourself, you know, to get up and have the willpower to be able to exercise the muscle. And so it really does tie into awareness too. Where awareness goes, energy flows. And just the other day I shared, I believe it was day number 2, journey with fierce focus and intention, focus and concentration. I shared something, what was it? Water does not discriminate. And I didn't even really elaborate more on that. And so today I want to do that because it really ties into your awareness and your mind and your thoughts. And so Don DePani shares, like, you know, that water doesn't discriminate, and what you water will grow. And if you're watering flowers and weeds, both of them will grow, but it's really what you set your focus on. You know, you're going to weed out the weeds and you're going to continue to nourish and water the flowers so they grow. And this really ties into our thoughts. And to gain mastery over your mind is really to gain awareness over your mind. And the only way you're able to do that is with willpower. You really have to set out with fierce intention, and you have to develop that willpower. And so I'm going to share with you 3 ways to develop your willpower. But first I want to share with you a memory that came to my heart, something that I kind of cherish. It's really funny looking back, but 2 friends and I decided that we were going to journey up into the high mountains and do a hike, and that's one of my more favorite outdoor activities. I love hiking into high lakes that you can only get to via trail or or foot, not something that you can drive up to. But this particular one I had never done before, and it wasn't actually up to a lake, but it was right next to the Blue Lake Trail, and it's called Dock Butte Trail. And we went up there, and there is still a lot of snow on the ground, and I can't say that we were 100% prepared. My friend that works at Boeing, she was definitely way more prepared and physically had enough stamina to just go ahead, and she definitely was my friend and I, the other friend's motivation to keep going. But we definitely didn't have the tools that we needed, the necessities that we needed to be able to accomplish our goal. And so it really is, you know, something that I look at in comparison. You know, we really do have to set out with the willpower to utilize all the keys that we're given to develop that self-mastery. And we had toasted caramel, but beyond that, we definitely were ill prepared. And I remember like feeling motivated as the hikers that were coming down were like, you're getting closer, you're getting closer. But that towards the end of the evening, we weren't there yet, and we kind of didn't know if we went off trail. We weren't seeing any hikers come down. The alcohol was kicking in. I remember thinking, oh, I hope we make it down from this. And it really just kind of reminded me, and I wanted to share, you know, I'm sure that you guys can all think back to a time where you set out to do something and you didn't have the proper tools or keys to be able to access what it was that you set out to do. And so I can't stress enough that how willpower really does tie into the ability to achieve your vision and utilize these keys that I'm sharing. And it really does start out with number one in the 3 ways to develop willpower: finish what you begin. And I shared this with I believe it was also Journey with Focus and Intention. You have to finish what you started, and it literally starts from when you wake up in the morning and get out of bed and you make your bed. You've finished the sleep, hopefully the restless sleep that you started the night before, and your way of finishing it is to make that bed. Or when you've had your breakfast in the morning, you've had time to eat that breakfast, you finished your breakfast, take the time to do those dishes really quick. It really is how we choose to allot our time, and the willpower in which we practice, you know, we're developing that willpower, and little things that we do are ways to develop, you know, the muscle, the mental willpower. So number one, finish what you begin. Number two, finish it well beyond your expectations. And I really feel like this is vital in who we are as people. You know, I've gotten some tattoo work done in my life, and I've been blessed to meet a few really amazing artists, and I have leg pieces too, but I don't want to get off track. I have heard them say that they're very cautious of you know, what they'll tattoo on a person. And it makes a lot of sense, because your work, your artwork, what you do, how you do it, really does define who you are. It has your name on it, and you really need to take pride and enjoyment in what you do, but you really do need to give it your all, and beyond your own expectations, you know, finish it well beyond your expectations. And I really hold my kids to this. We've started implementing them making their bed in the morning as one of their chores, because I feel like it's a very important thing for them to you know, learn in life, is you need to start your day out with that, and the reason why, the reason behind it. And I hold them to the expectation of it not only being made, but being made to a quality mom expectation. And I know sometimes they say it's not good to have expectations, but I do think it is important to hold yourself to a standard and to make that beyond your own expectation. Do everything to your best of your ability. Number 3, do a little more than you think you are able to do. And as somebody who's lost over 100 pounds, I think back to a time in my life where I was over 300 pounds, and I just really was not happy. And I was going through a lot of shadow work back then. Even then, I didn't know it was called that, but I remember thinking, I'm not happy. I remember seeing a picture. I had no idea how out of control I had allowed my weight to get until I seen that picture. And I remember thinking, I don't want to live this life. I don't want to be tired all the time. And so I would go on walks. I would go up to the local high school and walk on their track and then run. I would walk a lap, run a lap, walk a lap, run a lap. And I remember always feeling like I couldn't make it to that line before I was able to start walking, but I would push myself. And then I built up to not only making it to that line, but pushing myself a little bit further, to the point where I literally felt like I was going to collapse. And I'm not advising you to like put yourself in harm's way, but for me personally, it was such an empowering time in my life where I pushed my limits. I pushed myself daily to be better than the person I was the day before. And it really unlocked the ability for me to not only lose weight, but the ability for me to have the strength and the mental willpower to face off with myself daily and to start doing that inner work that I so truly needed to do to begin to heal. And it's been years. I started my weight loss journey back in 2011 actually, and thinking about it out loud thinking about it as I said that out loud, it's a synchronicity for me. And so it's interesting how everything ties together. But back to the subject, those three things really are key to being able to develop the mental muscle of willpower. And continuing to remember that where your awareness goes, energy flows. And to gain mastery of your mind is really to gain awareness over your mind. And it really is vital to keep yourself on track with willpower. And like I've shared before, you know, we don't always have control over what comes into our minds, but we do have the willpower to decide how long we allow those thoughts to stay with us. If they're not serving our higher purpose, if they're not serving us in a manner in which they align our mind and where we're going throughout the day, our goals that we have set up, if they're not in alignment with our ultimate vision and goals, then we need to have the willpower to exercise changing our thought and changing our state. And even just today, it literally is a daily practice. I found myself having feelings again and thoughts that were not serving to me. And I even found myself listening to some country music that aligned with that, and then some R&B music that aligned with those feelings that I was feeling that are not serving my higher purpose. And so I caught myself with willpower and went, this isn't working. and I even started to reflect in how my fuse was shortening with the kids. Just this morning, I'm trying to teach the kids as I journey, with the wisdom that I'm gaining, how to apply the things that I'm learning in their daily life so they can be successful in their own lives and in their own journeys, and use these tools and hopefully not have to go through some of the battles that their mom has had to face. And my daughter states to me that she's 41 assignments behind, and I had to sit with that all night, and I really thought that we had turned a chapter, and she was refocusing and setting out with, the willpower to get caught up, and the 41 missing assignments really threw me off. And so with my state of mind and the thoughts that were in my head, I allowed myself to do a little bit of yelling this morning and to not allow myself to listen. I mean, we can listen as parents, and I have a video actually that I interviewed her, and we went over, how important it is to listen, not to respond, but to listen, to understand. And I remember as she went out the door, she says, "You're not there, you don't understand." And I responded really quickly with, "Well, I have your progress report here that goes from a 3 to a 2 in your ability to pay attention in class. Tell me that's not a choice," And I really just short fuse, and it really ties all into where I allowed my mind to be, and what feelings I allowed to sit for too long. And it really does have a ripple effect in our relationships, in our environment, in how successful we are to accomplish what we set out for in the day. And so I really, really can't stress how much willpower will help you bring your awareness back to where it needs to be and to align with your vision. And willpower, literally teach your kids all of these keys that I'm sharing, and how to integrate all of these keys and the 3 ways to develop willpower. The results in their lives will be tremendous. I'm already seeing such growth, and you know, it's not always going to be perfect, and you're not always going to be able to exercise that willpower as well as you would like to, but it's all about building the muscle. You know, one day you can lift 10 pounds and the next you might be so sore that you literally can only lift 5, and that's okay as long as you have the willpower to continue your growth and building those muscles. So yeah, I really hope that you can utilize this willpower and share with me how you guys are doing on your journey and how you're utilizing these keys thus far. For me, you know, I love camouflage, and part of why I love it is it makes me feel badass. It makes me feel connected to Mother Nature. I'm not even into hunting. That was always just really my ex's thing. As I'm journeying through my awakening process, I'm learning, you know, I was a plant once, and I was that deer, and I was that elk in different dimensions. I'm still trying to wrap my head all around it, but I'm really truly believing it, and it's actually inspiring me to challenge my willpower a little bit. Here on March 7th, I'm going to start the beginning of a 4-day minimum raw vegan challenge that I have for myself, and it is because I am mindful of my awareness that my eating has gotten a little off track. I've caught myself a few times in reflection doing a little bit of comfort emotional eating, and so you really have to go within and be aware of your mind and your actions, and willpower is a big part of that. And so I want to build up that mental strength again to be able to resist the things that aren't good for me. And coming into springtime, I'm looking forward to tightening and toning and losing weight in a healthy way and regaining power. And I'm very curious of what exactly, you know, I've heard so many people with amazing testimonies that utilize the raw vegan and the intermittent fasting, and for some, you know, to do that for 4 days. My ultimate goal is 7, but being realistic with myself, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do the first 4, see how I feel, and then if I can't push myself further at that point, then I'll go at it again. But just really being self-aware is key in being able to develop that willpower, having awareness of where your energy flows, you know, and utilize all these keys, guys. Share with me your stories. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today, and I will see you tomorrow, day number 5. We're over halfway through. I hope that you guys continue to follow along and apply this all daily. If you guys like my channel, like, subscribe, share. I hope you have an amazing day. Namaste.